What if I told you Ferrari's biggest problem this season wasn't on the racetrack but buried deep inside their own technology? What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton, the man who built a career on precision, has been battling tools that quietly betrayed him before he even set foot on the grid? This isn't about age or effort or even Ferrari's famous growing pains. It's about a discovery inside Maranello that shook the team to its core and left Hamilton questioning whether he could trust the very foundation of his preparation. For months, the public narrative was simple. Transitions take time. Ferrari urged patience. Fans were told to wait. But hidden away in the simulator rooms, another truth was quietly unfolding. Hamilton's arrival in red was meant to be explosive, the sport's most decorated champion joining its most iconic team. Instead, race after race ended with disappointment. 14 rounds in, not a single podium. On paper, it looked like failure. But behind those numbers sat a deeper explanation, one no press release dared to spell out. Because the real problem didn't start on Sundays. It started where every modern Formula One season is meant to begin, the simulator. What Ferrari uncovered there transformed confusion into clarity. And for Hamilton, it explained why trust in his car evaporated lap after lap. When he signed the contract, fans pictured instant magic. Podiums, maybe even a championship push. Instead, Hamilton found himself trapped in an exhausting cycle of frustration. And the heart of that frustration wasn't only on track, it was embedded in Ferrari's simulator itself. For today's F1 drivers, the simulator isn't just a tool. It's the pulse of preparation. It shapes car setups, predicts tyre wear, and builds confidence long before race weekend. But for Hamilton, it became a cage. Insiders suggest Ferrari's system was never designed with him in mind. Years of fine-tuning had aligned the simulator with Charles Leclerc's style. That left Hamilton locked into parameters that didn't bend, didn't adapt, and ignored what he needed. Picture asking a master artist to create a masterpiece but handing him only 3 brushes. That's the box Hamilton was forced into. He put in endless hours, early mornings, late nights, extra sessions after every race, but the data always betrayed him. What looked promising in simulation unraveled in practice. By Friday, Hamilton wasn't just chasing time, he was chasing ghosts. In Formula One, belief doesn't start on the grid. It's built in the simulator. That's where drivers rehearse every variable, wind, tyre life, braking points, until the car feels like an extension of their body. But for Hamilton, that bridge from digital to reality kept collapsing. Numbers said one thing. Balance charts lined up. Yet on track, it all dissolved. Braking markers shifted unpredictably. Corner rotation felt inconsistent. The car's balance changed lap by lap, like a moving target. Slowly, something far more dangerous than poor setups took hold. Doubt. Inside the Ferrari garage, the tension became suffocating. Hamilton, who once trusted his instincts above any datasheet, found himself questioning the very tools designed to help him. Every mismatch between sim and reality chipped away at his confidence, not just in the car, but in the process itself. And once doubt creeps in, it spreads. Quietly. Not in headlines, but in hushed conversations behind Maranello's doors. At first, engineers brushed it off, just minor quirks, a sharper brake bite here, a slightly different modulation curve there. Nothing that should unsettle a 7-time world champion. But deeper analysis revealed something devastating. Ferrari's braking system had robbed Hamilton of his greatest weapon. At Mercedes, braking wasn't just about slowing down. It was an art form. Hamilton used the pedal to rotate the car, manage weight transfer and carve lines others couldn't even imagine. The feel was layered, progressive, almost like music. But Ferrari's SF25 had stripped away that nuance. It was digital, binary on or off. To most drivers, it was manageable. But for Hamilton, it was like asking a violinist to perform with broken strings. Insiders say he's been chasing that familiar sensation since his very first laps in red. Each time he regained some confidence, conditions shifted, and the feeling vanished. The fallout was brutal. Overheated tyres, messy corner entries, lap times collapsing when it mattered most. From the outside, it looked like Hamilton had simply lost his touch. In truth, he was fighting an invisible enemy. a braking system that refused to let him be himself behind the wheel. At Mercedes, Hamilton lived in a world of precision and control. At Ferrari, he's trapped in a machine that won't listen. At Mercedes, a strange vibration or a tenth lost in Sector 2 was never left to linger. It would be logged, broken down, modelled and corrected within weeks. Problems weren't politics. They were puzzles, solved with data and discipline. That culture was built for Hamilton. Ferrari, though, lives by a different rhythm. In Maranello, passion holds as much weight as mathematics, and emotion seeps into every corner of the operation. Pressure doesn't just create urgency, it creates volatility. A sharp radio call isn't treated as routine frustration, it's amplified into symbolism. A bad qualifying day isn't just a stumble. In the Italian press, it becomes a crisis that triggers debates about pride and heritage. For Hamilton, that shift was staggering. Insiders reveal he quickly realised the brake issue wasn't handled as an engineering flaw that needed resolving. It was handled like a storm cloud hanging over every meeting. Confidence began eroding not only because of the car, but because of the atmosphere itself. At Mercedes, he could rely on the system to hold him steady. At Ferrari, the system leaned on him, demanding the legend rise above the flaws. But how do you lead when the ground beneath you feels unstable? That's the impossible question Hamilton has been facing since his first laps in red. This wasn't just another technical hiccup, it spiraled into a political earthquake. The mismatch simulator and unforgiving brakes exposed weaknesses far beyond engineering. Every missed podium, every frustrated radio message, every cautious interview fed into a larger story. Was the Hamilton gamble already failing? Because Ferrari hadn't just signed a driver, they had made a declaration to the world that Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari Red would redefine the Scuderia. The cost wasn't just financial, though hundreds of millions are tied to it. The cost was pride, myth, reputation. And in Formula One, pride can be heavier than performance. If this project collapses, it won't be brushed aside as unlucky. It will scar Ferrari's history, arm their rivals with ammunition and linger over Maranello for years. Team boss Frédéric Vasseur seems to understand that more than anyone. His recent words, subtle but weighted, carry two purposes. They protect Hamilton from being painted as the problem, but they also serve as a warning that Ferrari must accelerate solutions before this dream curdles into a nightmare. Because here, failure doesn't just cost points, it costs legacy. And Hamilton's legacy is now tied to Ferrari's ability to deliver. For months, the situation looked unsolvable. Every tweak led nowhere. Every weekend ended with déjà vu. But Ferrari's breakthrough has finally given form to the chaos. A simulator that never spoke Hamilton's language. A braking system that stripped away his greatest weapon. For the first time, there's clarity. And clarity for Hamilton means everything. It is the seed of belief. Yet the road forward is brutal. Rebuilding the simulator to match Hamilton's style requires rewriting years of code from scratch. Redesigning brake modulation might demand hardware changes, endless new mappings, and long nights of testing. All of this under the crushing limits of the cost cap, while the 2026 car already drains resources. This isn't just an engineering challenge, it's a race against time, money, and politics. Still, Hamilton now knows he wasn't imagining it. He wasn't chasing shadows. The flaws were real. And real flaws can be fixed. That alone shifts the entire narrative. Suddenly, this isn't the story of a fading champion. It's the story of a legend armed with proof, fighting to reclaim his edge, and Ferrari holding the keys to redemption. But clarity doesn't equal victory. Ferrari faces its toughest challenge yet, acting decisively, reprogramming software, redesigning brake systems, and reshaping a culture that has always leaned on passion more than process. And while all of that happens behind the scenes, Hamilton has to keep racing, keep trusting, keep pushing, even when the stopwatch doesn't yet reflect the progress. That is the cruel paradox. Believing in a turnaround while the results still scream otherwise. And yet, the stakes are enormous. If Ferrari pulls it off, the story flips overnight. From whispers of decline to headlines of rebirth, from questions of failure to the possibility of Hamilton's greatest chapter. But if they don't, the dream will collapse under the weight of its own expectations. So now I put the question to you. Do you think Ferrari will unlock the Hamilton we all know and finally let him write his legend in red? Or is this project destined to go down as one of the sport's most painful what-ifs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over.